Why did Mark Twain leave Freemasonry? Samuel Langhorne Clemens, known as Mark Twain, was a celebrated American writer renowned for his humor and wit. He authored classics like The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Twain's upbringing in Missouri influenced many of his stories. His career included stints as a printer, riverboat pilot, and journalist. He gained fame with the celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County and was praised for his satire and social commentary. Despite financial struggles, he remained resilient, fulfilling his debts after bankruptcy. Twain's life ended as he predicted, coinciding with the return of Halley's Comet. Why did he leave Freemasonry? Was he asked to leave because of the excessive N-bombs he dropped in his writings? Was it because he hated slavery and had become a staunch opponent? This episode of the Old-Fashioned Masonic podcast will tell you a story. Samuel Langhorne Clemens, born in 1835 in Missouri, was the sixth of 7 children. His parents, Jane and John Marshall Clemens, had roots in Kentucky and Virginia. Raised in Hannibal, Missouri, he left school at 11 after his father's death and became a printer's apprentice. Twain's fascination with steamboats led him to pursue a career as a riverboat pilot, mastering the Mississippi River's twists and turns. His experiences on the river inspired his pen name, derived from the leadsman's call, Mark Twain, signifying safe depths. Tragically, his brother Henry died in a steamboat accident, an event that haunted Twain. He briefly served in the Confederate Army before heading to Nevada to assist his brother Orion. Twain's early life and adventures laid the groundwork for his future as a renowned author. In 1861, Clemens, accompanied by his brother Orion, journeyed west to Nevada, where Orion had taken a position as secretary to the governor. Their travels led them across the Great Plains and Rocky Mountains, eventually settling in Virginia City. Despite an unsuccessful stint as a miner, Twain found his calling as a journalist at the Territorial Enterprise newspaper. It was here that he adopted the pen name Mark Twain. His experiences in the American West provided fodder for his writing, including the famous story, The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. Twain's literary career gained momentum with the publication of this tale, earning him national acclaim. Subsequent travels to the Sandwich Islands and a Mediterranean tour further enriched his repertoire and expanded his fame. Twain's encounters abroad, coupled with his wit and storytelling prowess, solidified his status as a prominent literary figure. Mark Twain had a strong interest in science and formed a close bond with Nikola Tesla, spending much time together in Tesla's laboratory. He patented 3 inventions, including a self-pasting scrapbook that became commercially successful. Twain also supported fingerprinting as a forensic technique and incorporated it into his works. Did you know that? His novel, A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, explores the concept of time travel and the introduction of modern technology to historical settings. In 1909, Thomas Edison filmed Twain at his home in Redding, Connecticut, providing the only known footage of the author. Mark Twain made significant money from his writing but lost much through investments, particularly in inventions like the Page typesetting machine. Despite spending a substantial sum on it, it became obsolete before it could be perfected. He also faced losses through his publishing house. Financial troubles led to the closure of his home and a move to Europe, where he wrote and lectured to regain stability, with support from Henry Huddleston Rogers. Rogers managed Twain's finances, helping him recover. Twain embarked on a worldwide lecture tour to pay off his debts, despite no legal obligation to do so, documenting his travels in Following the Equator. After spending several years in Europe, Twain returned to America debt-free. He became a prominent critic of imperialism upon his return, engaging in activism against it. Twain's views became more radical as he grew older. Twain was a staunch supporter of technological progress and commerce. He was against welfare measures because he believed that society in the business age is governed by exact and constant laws that should not be interfered with for the accommodation of any individual or political or religious faction. Before 1899, Twain was largely in favor of imperialism. In the late 1860s and early 1870s, he spoke out strongly in favor of American interests in the Hawaiian Islands. He said the war with Spain in 1898 was the worthiest war ever fought. In 1899, however, he reversed course. In the New York Herald, October 16, 1900, Twain describes his transformation and political awakening in the context of the Philippine-American War to anti-imperialism. Twain was an adamant supporter of the abolition of slavery and the emancipation of slaves, even going so far as to say, Lincoln's proclamation not only set the black slaves free, but set the white man free also. He argued that non-whites did not receive justice in the United States, once saying, "I have seen Chinamen abused and maltreated in all the mean, cowardly ways possible to the invention of a degraded nature. But I never saw a Chinaman righted in a court of justice for wrongs thus done to him. He paid for at least one black person to attend Yale Law School, and for another black person to attend a Southern university to become a minister." Now to Freemasonry. According to the Northern Masonic jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite, Mark Twain presented his petition to Polar Star Lodge number 79 of St. Louis on December 26, 1860. He received the first degree shortly after on February 18, 1861. Polar Star Lodge was primarily made up of river pilots at this time, giving us a hint as to why Mark Twain might have been inspired to join the craft in the first place. In a twist of events, shortly after Twain had been raised as a master mason, he left for the Nevada Territory to work as the private secretary to his brother Orion and was subsequently suspended from his home lodge. Twain's fraternal activity was put on hold for the most part, and there is not a lot of evidence of lodge visits or conversations about his Masonic practices during this time. Once Twain returned to the States, however, his Masonic interests expanded. In April of 1867, Mark Twain petitioned for readmission to his home lodge and was reinstated. Twain soon became a busy man. Writing, tours, and the beginnings of fame kept him away from St. Louis for long periods of time. On one of his first trips exploring Europe and the Near East, Twain is said to have been greatly impressed by Lebanon and its connection to Freemasonry. He ended up retrieving a piece of cedar and had it made into a gavel to send back to the worshipful master of his mother lodge. Sadly, this passion for Freemasonry was soon to be impacted by Twain's engagement to Olivia Langdon, and he asked for a demit, remaining unaffiliated for the rest of his life. Although there is not a great deal of evidence to point to Mark Twain's Masonic devotion, it is clear that Freemasonry had an impact on his life, which can be seen throughout his various writings. In The Innocents Abroad, he includes many Masonic phrases such as "Great Architect of the Universe," a nod to his Masonic past. There are also many randomized passages among his vast array of work that have uncanny parallels to Masonic ideology. Some even say that the links to Masonry in his writing were added as a wink to fellow brothers that might be reading his books. Mark Twain lived in Manhattan during his later years, facing profound sorrow after the deaths of his daughter, wife, and close friend. He supported his friend Ina Coolbrith after the San Francisco earthquake and formed significant relationships with Charlotte Teller and Dorothy Quick. Twain found joy in his Angel Fish and Aquarium Club, and he received multiple honorary degrees. His famous prediction of dying with Halley's Comet came true when he passed away in 1910, shortly before its return. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment to the Old-Fashioned Masonic podcast.